entire building up to access. And a new building obviously is fully accessible. So there are areas of this building, there's level changes in which you can't go from one end of the building to the other. Doors are not wide enough, lever handles are not on the doors. There's not the right amount of handicapped accessible toilets. So all of those would have to be modified as well. And I just think the big key here is that the building never started out with much of a renovation to begin with. It would be very difficult to turn this building into a town hall. I know it was here, it made sense to move in, it's probably functioned well enough for the time being, but unfortunately, these areas that we've highlighted are not areas we had to dig for. They kind of presented themselves to us as we walked around, and we tried to summarize as best we could in the report for you this evening. So I hope this is a start. If you have a chance to go through it, I'm willing to answer any questions you have this evening or any after that.
A couple of questions I have is when I looked at the report, when you talk about the new building, that price included the demolition and doing that.
Yeah, and it's not inexpensive to demolish the building itself. I mean, you have to be sure. For example, you may have noticed that it was a sad situation, but after 9/11, when they were removing demolition debris, they even made them separate the rebar from the concrete. That has to go to separate landfills. That would be the case here. Any concrete can't just be disposed of in a single landfill. So there's a lot of work in taking down the building, removing all the asbestos first. You have to abate it regardless of whether you try to renovate the building or demolish it. But there's a lot to do, including, believe it or not, the plies of the old built-up roof oftentimes have asbestos in those plies. So the roof has to be stripped first in order to abate that asbestos.
And then the other thing is, this was based on doing it on this lot of land, would the cost be essentially the same if we built the building on other town-owned land? Or would that depend on?
It would depend on the access to utilities. See, we knew here that we at least had utility access, sanitary service, and electrical. If there's a proper access to utilities, I would say the cost would be relatively the same. What we tried to take advantage of here is the fact that we knew the town hall was right next door. We would run in new, and this is just on a preliminary basis, mind you, but we would run in new driveways for entrance and access and egress for the contractors. They would have a staging area out back, but when it was time to relocate the facility right next door. So it would be an easier transition, a shorter moving cost, and then all of the work that was taking place back there, then you could even expand the parking lot and the driveways, you'd clear this site, and you'd add additional parking. Because we did find that there are times of the year, such as voting, when these parking lots are overflowing, and the traffic can't be handled on what was expected to be just a number of teachers and maybe a few visiting parents for an elementary school. It's been modified a little bit, but they still, all the staff members have indicated that many times during the year, it's very difficult to
Mr. Medina?
The report mentioned termite damage.
Yes.
Where did you find termite damage?
I can have John Welsh speak to that. John's been a terrific help, and he gave us information that a termite exterminator had come in, and that's part of the reason that some of the door frames had wood studding for support built into them that went down into the slab. So there was actually wood exposed to the ground through the concrete, and it's in a number of areas of the building. Do you want to elaborate on that, John?
Yeah, Phil, we actually have termite swarms that occur numerous times a year. That we currently have an exterminating company that has in the ground outside the perimeter of almost half of the total exterior of the building. We've got bait stations that we kill the termites with. The areas that are currently impacted start with not this entrance door, but the other entrance at the other end of the front of the building. Goes all the way around the gym, all the way along the finance side, and now we're starting to have them along this public works side, on this side of the building. We're starting to experience swarms there. It's interesting, as Kevin pointed out briefly, that a lot of the concrete slab that's here, they built things and then poured the concrete slab. It's something that you sometimes typically see in new construction in homes. It's not correct to do it, but that's what they do it, it's not a good practice. But in this building, for example, the area that I just described, we're already under an agreement with A1 Exterminators to continually monitor that. And it seems that every year I have to expand it, because when you really look at this building, what you find is that all along the window walls is wood frame cabinets, along with the unit ventilators. The cabinets, apparently, the frames were built and then the concrete slab was poured. So there's this host environment right underneath the slab, and it's inviting and offering a conduit, if you will, for the termites to come into the building. So quite a problem.
In line with that,
What do you think of it? It's an all concrete building.
I know.
It's
I was
amazing.
surprised
But
when I first saw it.
but I know that the termites like to go under the slabs because it's a warm area that they can survive all winter long.
I think it's a good host environment too, because from what I can determine so far, we did do, Public Works did an exterior drain inside the U shape on the back of the building and across both sides of the back of the building, which we have now going out into an area way out behind the building. And when we did that, we kept finding tree stumps, pieces of tree stumps. So it's possible that when they did the excavation and so on and so forth to build this building in the first place, perhaps they buried tree stumps. What I've been told by the exterminator companies is that typically after 40 or 50 years, the tree stump has decomposed sufficiently so that now the termites have no host environment to nurture on them. So now they're looking for other places to go and clean the doors.
In light of that, it was one of the things we mentioned in the study, that even if you performed an entire renovation, it's still an older building. So from a contingency standpoint, in the cost estimates, we put a 10% construction contingency in there, because you may find more of this wood buried in the walls in the winter, where we want to eliminate all of that during the construction process. Whereas for the new building, the contingency is only 5%. You're dealing with, you'll test the site, clean soils, and you'll be building a new building from the ground up. So contingency should be significantly less.
I had asked Kevin this before, and I just wanted to ask him again for you folks tonight, and that is, you know, going with the new existing building, to how far can we just, over a period of X amount of years, progress to total rehabilitation and addition of this building, thinking that we could come back to Kevin and say, all right, we want to go with Plan A, which is to stay here and reinvest in this building. But we can't, we're not in a position to fund it at $6.7 million. Can we spread it over 10 years and go at it at a procedural basis like that? And the answer was?
Well, the answer was that it'll be a lot more costly, obviously spread out over that length of time. If you're looking to take on a 50-year-old building that has the deficiencies that this building has, from an economical standpoint, I mean, it's far better to get into the building and do everything at once, because you'll be shifting people in and out all the time. If you're not treating all the areas for asbestos and lead, you're going to be exposing people to that, or maybe creating more mold down the line over a much longer period of time, and may indeed exacerbate the problem by starting a construction project in one end, and not only are they exposed to the normal elements created within this building environment, but now they're exposed to the construction process as well. So it becomes a real tough process.
I guess I didn't miss it. I was looking for some good news, but I couldn't find it.
There is some.
But
I'm not surprised by it.
No, I'm not surprised by it either. And I appreciate the effort that was put in, and the cost that was expended.
Thank you.
Got a good deal for the price. But obviously, it's like no surprise to any of us that are sitting here. It comes here on a regular basis. But I think the timeliness of it is good as far as beginning point for newly formed committee, about to be formed committee.
No, it is.
It's
It's ready to kick off after Labor Day. This is our infrastructure committee. Pulling all this information together, trying to map out a long-range game plan for dealing not only with this building, but with other town building plans.
It's obviously, this is a good start for this building, and it develops, becomes the tip of the iceberg. Other problems may develop in the building over the next couple of years that don't show themselves up in here. And in the same vein, it's always good to have all the infrastructure analyzed as best as possible, create a long-range plan and look at each of those buildings so that you have a single document that identifies all of the issues, so that maybe there's some economic sort of savings. If you have to eradicate termites in one building, you have them at the other, but an exterminator can give you a break by coming to both buildings.
This report just brings up a totally different issue. It seems to me that the hood, the little, Mr. Murphy said, all around the same age, maybe built more or less the same way. Do we have, is there a potential for some of these problems to exist at the operating schools? I know that
They had the word of the little, that they've undergone significant renovation.
they've been more in the form of additions.
Yes, but during that process, I believe I was not involved in those projects, but I believe in order to be considered for state reimbursement, they would have had to renovate the entire building, soup to nuts as the state called it, and whether or not they're on the list for reimbursement, I don't know that answer. But typically, when an architect would go into a building like that, the addition would be part of the process, but the renovation of the other parts of the building would be required just for handicapped accessibility. For code, you have to bring the rest of the building up to code. Oftentimes, they have you add a sprinkler system, which you can see this building does not have. The only place it occurs in a small section is there's a small records area, and the records keeping for a town hall is so critical, and you're retaining the citizens' records for a long time. Obviously, a proper vaulted area under protection is more appropriate than what they have here, but they try to make as good a stance as they can.
Well, that was added on that one.
Right, seems
That
like
was
it was an
that
addition.
was the addition.
It was a knuckle stop,
Yeah.
tucked off the backside of the building as well.
That was done when town hall was moved over.
It's just tough because of its location. You'll have departments in the far wing that have to access that area. And the clerk's always going back and forth to that area as well, where typically the vault would be near the clerk's office, and all the other offices would be in the closest circumference to that space.
Kevin, I have a question, if you don't mind. I noted that your preliminary drawing on the new building shows a pitched roof. And I'm wondering if the contemplated renovations to this building would incorporate a pitched roof as part of the design for the existing facility.
We did look into that for a couple of reasons. Typically, in order to try to create a new pitch roof on top of it, it's not to say it can't be done, but the structure may not be adequate to support those stresses that will be created by the pitch roof. Plus, it's a lot more costly to try to take and create that on top of the existing building, whereas in the new construction, everything's in a frame standpoint first, versus all the walls are up here, and then you're working on top of the little roof. You have to rip that first. You would immediately expose all of the interior spaces to the weather, and this size commercial property would be quite difficult to top it off and keep it protected during the lengthy construction process. I think we've estimated probably at least a year to work on the construction. It's not that it can't be done, it would just be a challenge to recover these asset costs.
Right, and certainly from my perspective, having been involved in municipal building, school building projects and other communities, to the extent the town can avoid flat roofs and any of these renovations, all the better. Because they will come back and bite you no matter what the warranty period is or the express warranty period is. There are always problems.
We learned that a long time ago.
I guess every community learns it.
Yeah, we have.
But we didn't go slate.
Don't even go there.
You heard that?
I did.
In addition to the weather, when I was on the school board a number of years ago, we had an incident. The kids had taken one of these little motor bikes and got up on the roof and were racing around on the roof. I remember that.
It's not uncommon.
Tough to do on a
We
picture.
also had residents taking test boards of their own.